So great, you've took the time out to take a look at a situation that has been difficult for you, and you've explored some of the thoughts that you have there. So you should have lots of thoughts all around your page there, and that's a great starting point. So if we were to look at what was going on, there's a lot of thoughts there, and we can't tackle them all at the one time. That's like me standing here and 20 people shouting something at me. For one, I wouldn't be able to hear what they were saying. Two, I would feel overwhelmed when there's so much going on, and I probably just wouldn't be able to make sense of it all. And that's what happens to us when we get into that thought pattern, when there's so many thoughts in and around a situation that we just can't make sense of it, and we end up with kind of feeling stuck or lost in among it all. So what we're going to do now is take a look at the Amazing Bad Thought Busting program, and I'm going to share with you just an example from my own life that I have used this technique on and I have got to the other side of. So it's important to go and connect to yourself with that difficult situation and with that time when your thoughts are not good, because when learning this skill is about learning that whenever you go into this again, you have this skill now to get back out of. So let's take a look at how I turn things around. So the situation in my life was that I took on an opportunity to run a business. I had already been manager in the business for 10 years, and then the opportunity came up and I took it on and ran it for another 4 years. Okay, but then it closed. So it didn't just, times changed, it didn't just do as well for me as it had done beforehand. So let's take a wee look at what happened to me. So my thoughts were, okay, the situation, difficult situation, was that my business had closed. My thoughts for me was that I am useless. I'm a complete failure. Here we go again. Something else has just not worked out. Why does nothing ever work out for me? My intention was to try and sort of progress myself, and I thought, okay, this is good, this is an opportunity for me to get going, but it didn't work. So I was totally devastated. My next one was, so that's what I was thinking about me. What I was thinking about other people was people who were laughing at me. My dad was right, it was a stupid move in the first place. There was a recession on, the times were changed, it wasn't a good time to open a business. Was I stupid anyway? Those types of things. Then about the situation and what might happen, I was thinking, right, okay, I have no work now. What can I do? And actually, I do remember sitting in the chair here at home just thinking, I have no skills. I don't know what I can do now going forward. This is what I've been doing for so long. I don't know where to go now. I don't know where I'm going to start. I don't even know who I am and what kinds of skills I have to bring to another job. And I really was feeling that low at the time. And then down the bottom there, it was like, for me, it was just bringing it back to, everything had gone wrong when I had hoped that it was going to work out. And for me, the biggest thought that annoyed me was that I was a complete failure. So I want you to do the same as what I've just done there now, if you can, with what you've written on your page. I want you to go down those thoughts, and I want you to find that thought that literally grabs you in the stomach, the one that is the most annoying one. It's actually the most annoying one, the one that seems to have the most control. So if I follow this, yes, the situation was my business had closed, and yes, there was all these thoughts around it, but right down the bottom was, I'm a complete failure. So that's the thought that I'm going to work with, because I'm only going to choose one thought. And usually if you can get the one that gets you in the stomach, that's the biggest one, that's the root thought. So if we can get that root thought out, all those other wee ones like people laughing at me or, I have no skills, all of those things will probably disappear once we get that first one or that bigger one so that we can pull it out. So have a look on your page now, pause this video if you need to take a wee moment and just scan down, and I want you to choose only one thought from what's on your page that you're going to work with now to use in the Amazing Bad Thought Busting program. So following the thought that you have, I want you to imagine now that that thought has come in, literally come in like this and taken over. Because that's what happens to us. A thought comes in and it literally becomes who we are. We then start to behave differently in response to that thought. And so when I'm thinking this thought, I'm a complete failure, then obviously I don't want to be around people. I don't want to engage with people. I don't want people to bother me. I feel low, and I might eat more, or I might binge on TV. I might just stay in the house and avoid going out, all right? Which in fact I did actually. I didn't enjoy going into town or meeting people because I didn't want to answer any questions that they might have asked me. So my behaviour did change, all right? So I want us to imagine that literally you have the thought like this. Whatever that thought is on your page, you're going to do the same with it, okay? And our step one in challenging this is to label this thought. So I know the light isn't brilliant in this video here, but if you imagine, right, this thought, I am a complete failure. What type of thought is it if we look at our chart again? What type of thought is it? Is it a criticizing thought? Is it a focus on the bad stuff thought? Is it a gloomy view of the future? Think about your thought that's on your page now. Are you jumping to the worst conclusions? Are you mind reading? Are you taking responsibility for stuff that's not your fault? Or are you doing shoulda, woulda, coulda? Okay? So for me, the thought, I'm a complete failure, was a criticizing thought. Now I want you to only choose one of these. I know that it can slot into other ones, so mine could have slotted into criticizing or focusing on the bad stuff or assuming others see me badly. But I want you to just pick one if you can, because our step one is then to say, look, you're a bad thought. We're going to label it. So step one is label it. You're a bad thought. You don't make me feel good. You are a criticizing thought. So this is what you're going to do with your thoughts. So you're a bad thought. You don't have me feel good. And then what type of thought is it? So it might be your mind reading. You're a bad thought. You don't have me feel good. You're focusing on the bad stuff. That's a bad thought. I don't feel good. I'm mind reading. That's a bad thought. I don't feel good. I am taking responsibility for everything. You get what I'm saying? So look at your thought, label that thought, and that's all I want you to write down now is, so my thought is, whatever your thought is. And then the second part is just, what you want to do with this is my thought, and it's a criticizing thought, or whatever type of thought it is. Brilliant. So that's step one. Step two of the process is to leave it. So I want you to say to the thought, I am not listening to you. Good evening, that's a load of rubbish. I am not listening to that. I want you to leave it and let the thought go. This is step two. Bad thoughts love attention. So don't give them any attention, because the more attention you give to that thought, the same as what we did with the polar bear earlier, the bigger it'll get and the louder it'll get and the more power it'll get. So we're taking back this power and we are just not going to give it any attention. Okay, with smaller thoughts, that'll work well. You might be able to let it go at that stage. With something bigger, and with my example is bigger than that, it comes back at you. So it stands up at you and it says, oh, are you joking? You're a complete failure. Sure, look at it, didn't work out and now you're here and you have no job and you're hiding from people and you're not going out and about and you're da 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 da. So it starts to give me evidence that it's true. So this next step is about challenging it. So we're going to stand up to it. Is it the truth? Is the thought that you have on your page the truth? Is it true that I am a complete failure? Is it the truth, or is it just a thought? Is it a thought that has come in and taken power, taken control, or is it the truth? So this is the first way to challenge it. One, you're not the truth. That's not true. It's not true that I am a complete failure. Yes, it's true that my business failed or my business closed, but that doesn't mean I'm a failure. So I have to start giving evidence back against the thought that says actually that's not true. Do you know what? I'm not a complete failure. So some of my evidence might be, do you know what? I tried it. I gave it a wee shot. I did my best. It was a new challenge for me. It was a good experience. It was a learning experience. Good. Do the same with your thought. Start to stand up to it. What can you write down there that will challenge that thought? You might need to stop this video and do that. That's fine. Just start to challenge the thought. Write something down against it. Think something against it so that it challenges that thought. Brilliant. Step 4. Step 4 is give yourself a break. Give yourself a break. What would somebody else say to you? What would a friend say to you? If you were to actually say out loud the thoughts that are on your page, or you were to say that to someone, what would they say back to you? I know for me, it would be like if I was to say to somebody, you know, I think I'm a complete failure because of that experience. They would say to me, Marina, listen, you give it a shot. Maybe a person wouldn't have taken on that challenge at that time. And yes, it didn't work out for you, but do you know what? You did great. And you did lots of stuff in there. And you have so many skills and you have so many things that you can do. You know, life's not over. You can start again. It's a chance for you to start again. Okay, do the same with you. Be your own best friend. Say to yourself, start to challenge that thought and say to yourself what somebody else would say to you if you were sitting talking to them now in an exchange. And our very last step here is look at it differently. Let's look at it differently. Could there be another way to look at this situation? For me, again, going back to our example, another way to look at the situation is zoom away up and look down on it and go, right, okay, oh, there's someone who's like taken on an opportunity, they've gave it a wee go, it hasn't worked. Oh, there she is now, she's contemplating what she's going to do next. You know, who knows what's down the road, but here it is. Another way to look at it might be, is it going to matter in 6 months' time? 6 months' time after that happened to me, I was in a brand new job. A job that I never thought I would be in. I never thought that I would be standing here in front of you talking. I never thought that I would be standing in front of groups of people talking. So there was a path that was ahead of me that I didn't even know was there. Look at it differently. Will it matter in 6 months' time? Are my thoughts based on facts? Is this really the truth? And another one which I absolutely love is, what would someone you know and respect do in this situation, or what would they say to you? So what would someone who you know, if it's a skill that you want, so it's like confidence or determination or forgiveness or whatever it is that you think would make a difference here, if I could only do this, or if I could only have this skill, think of a person you know who has that skill and think, what would they do in this situation, or what would they say to me? And I want you to write that on your page there as well. So I hope that you have totally depowered that thought. I totally depowered mine. I knew at the end of that process, and when I had actually started to challenge it, that I wasn't a complete failure. And that thought was not the truth. What was the truth though? And let's look at your situation as well. What was the truth in that situation? So if we go back to the polar bear, what was the truth about the polar bear? The truth about the polar bear was that the polar bear was sitting on an iceberg. Everything else that we had written around it was our perception of what was happening to the polar bear. So it's the same with your situation and my situation. If we think of it the same, what happened was my business closed. What is the truth of that? Now you could say, well, the truth of it is that you tried, that you did great, that you could give me all sorts of lovely compliments and I could take them on as the truth and they would make me feel good. So depending on what thought we take, one has us feel good, one has us feel bad. So if I think I'm a complete failure, then I feel bad. If I think, oh, you know, I was great, I gave that a try, then I feel good. But the truth of the situation is just what happened. So what happened was my business closed. What it meant, and the truth of it is, my business closed. That's it. My business closed meant my business closed. It didn't mean I was a failure. It didn't mean I was brilliant. It didn't mean any of those things. Everything else that we make it mean is just our perception and it's a thought. So I want to end this video with a thought is just a thought. It's not the truth. Whatever was written on your page is not the truth. That's not who you are. That's not the truth about the situation. Whatever happened is what happened. I can't change the fact that my business closed. That did happen. That is the truth. That's what happened. What happened is the truth. But everything else is what I make it mean. And everything else is just a thought. So whatever else is on your page is a thought. And either that thought makes you feel good or that thought makes you feel bad. And we do have the power to choose which thought we want to hold on to. And we start with saying, you're a bad thought. You don't have me feel good. You're a criticizing thought. I'm not listening to you. Give them evidence as to why it's not the truth. Give yourself a break and then look at it differently. I hope you've got great benefit out of this session. This is a brilliant technique to use and you can use it on pen and paper or you can just do it in your mind with your thoughts. It's like a little game that you play and it's just about winning over that thought process and just changing it slightly. So have a wee practice this week. Again, don't take it too seriously. Don't beat yourself up if you're not getting anywhere. And don't go too emotional with it if you're not ready for that. Just take on some thoughts that you're ready to challenge. Okay, best of luck and well done. Thank you so much.